Hey everyone, Eric with Rockin' H, session 11. K100 standard sleeper build tonight is on. And I have moved into the garage. We started last week in the living room, or at my kitchen table. And then tonight we're moving into the workshop for some power tools. So here we go. Gonna wait for people. This is the pre-show if you're just tuning in. So we are letting people get on the call, get settled in, have a little fun, see who's here, and we will get started shortly. So, if you've been following along at all, you'll know that this is my temporary shop. I moved from one place to this house. We moved in here in May, and I've been working on my shop, running this business, being married, doing the dad thing and all that. I just haven't got to my shop, and it's been a painful, long process, but it's getting done. So, a few people are coming on here. See, Dustin's on. That's good. Welcome, Dustin. And for those of you that haven't paid, you should be watching Dustin Montgomery. He's doing some tutorials as well, doing a nice job. So, lots to learn, and he's giving away his information to help the world as well. So, make sure you tune into Dustin. So, we got a few people. Our audience is growing. That's good. And I don't know if you can see my breath, but it's kind of chilly out here tonight. So this will be long enough to get the point across, and then I'm going in the house. So that'll be cool. And for those watching, Dodge City we had ice apocalypse over the weekend, and the power actually went out here for a couple hours this afternoon. There's parts of town still out of power, but we had ice everywhere. It was pretty incredible. Tree damage all over the place. We don't have any trees on our lawn or in our yard, so that didn't bother us. And all of my power lines to the house are underground, so we were fortunate in that regard. But holy smokes, around town is bad. Wow. So who do we all have on here tonight? I see Dustin. And if my phone is shaking, I'm kind of chilly just standing here. See Dustin, who else is on? If you're watching, give me a shout out. There's Matt. He's one of our students. Matt is building K100 along with me. Got two other guys that I'm aware of. I don't know how many people are building one that are just watching. But thanks for that. Hi, Matt. How are you this evening? Hopefully you're staying nice and cozy. And of course, I don't have a clock out here, so if you give me a time check, that'd be cool too. Hi, Joseph. Shed's looking good. Thanks, Garrett. Thank you. It's coming along slowly but surely. It's coming. I'm hoping after the toy show next week, plan to start moving some stuff into it. So that'll be awesome. Dustin's without power. Doggone. Well, it's got that far. It's up in Illinois. We were blessed. Like I said, our power only went out for about 2 hours this afternoon, and then it was back on. Now my Wi-Fi's down. I can't figure that out. So we got to get our internet provider to figure out. Well, it's Cox, so we have Cox internet. We don't have Cox cable, but we have Cox internet. There we go. Gosh, anyone else suffering from cold air, ice, and misery like we are out here in Dodge City? Sounds like Dustin is. What about the rest of you? Anyone else suffering from the cold air, just the ice and snow and really ornery weather this weekend? Our school is actually canceled again tomorrow because some of our schools are still without power. So across the town, the whole district's out. Oh, really? Oh, it's storming. No, I see. Yeah, got it. So Dustin says it's storming there. 50 degrees. That's nice. I'm ready for some 50-degree weather and melt the ice off of these dadgum trees, because the trees are just coming down left and right. I'm going to sneak over here in the house and see what time it is so we can get started on time. Oh my gosh. How do you like that? You get to see my breezeway without any light on it. Oh, good. We are right about there. Cool. All right. Well, according to my clock in the kitchen, we are ready to go. All right. If you're just joining us, tonight is lesson 2, session 11. Oh, it's 9:25. Well, we're going to start early just to get it going. 6 inches of snow last night and today. Wow, well done, Garrett. The moisture's always good out there in your neck of the woods. Okay, so here we go. Tonight is session 11, lesson 2, K100 standard sleeper build. And last weekend we did the teardown, paint strip, all that stuff. And then tonight we're actually going to do the cutting. And tonight is actually the hardest part of the whole build, in my opinion. If you can get past tonight, you're going to be fine from this point forward, okay? So if you just stay with me, follow what I do, you're going to be okay. But like I said, this is the most challenging part of the build, but you're going to do fine. Just follow the steps, and here we go. Now, at the end of every lesson, I got to just backtrack just a little bit here. And at the end of most shows, I say, if you value this information, if you find it useful, to share it, be a blessing to someone else, teach them something that they may not know how to do. You can actually share the video that you're watching right now to your profile, and you might even be able to share it to a page depending on what device you're watching it on. So just hit that share button, and then you can automatically get this out there right now, and people can watch it with you, okay? So if you do that, that would be awesome. So I'm going to plug in the my power here. I'm going to stick you in the cradle. I will warn you ahead of time, you're going to have a few gymnastics as I turn my camera holder thingy, turn it to get all the shots. So over. This is actually what the phone rests in right here. Okay. There we go. We are set and ready. Okay. Now you'll notice, just a second here, got one little thing I got to move. Hey Ryan, thanks for joining. And Joseph, up in Beloit. Well done, Joseph. You didn't get too much. That's awesome. Okay, so just a quick introduction of what I've got in front of you right here. This is practice right here. And you'll notice this is the way the standard DCP is. That's just the way they come. And then some of them have this, what do they call it, a studio sleeper or something like that. It comes as big air thing, whatever. It's got windows and whatnot up top. So all we did is we are making it shorter. And I went out online to see some real trucks just to make sure that I got the look that I wanted. To see, now there's holes here, 1, 2, 3, 4, for plastic hand grabs and steps that we had taken off last time. And I wanted to save those, both of them this time through. So you'll notice that we did that. So we only cut out enough back here and then here, and then we're just moving the back forward, okay? So there you go. So we just cut out a chunk of metal, and I didn't save the practice version of that, but that's all right. Now, for your information, I'm glad I did a practice model to start with, because then you wouldn't have to see me embarrass myself live. A couple of problems, as you might be able to tell on this one. I didn't get a very good, when I was sanding, I got carried away and sloppy, and what happened was I didn't get that sanded level all the way through, and you can see it. Luckily, we do have body filler we can put in here and here. You kind of clean that up, okay? There's the other side, and these are not perfectly even, I'm going to let you know as well. And then down here you can see a gap also. So they're not perfect by any stretch, so give yourself a little grace, a little latitude to make mistakes, okay? This isn't the end of the world, it's just die cast. Okay, also, you can see on the back of the sleeper right here, see how right here it's a nice smooth transition from this piece, the roof die cast, to this piece of die cast, to the back, and this does remove, just so you know. Yeah, you can see me putting a gap in there. That's nice and smooth. Okay, I didn't get that on this one. See, you got that little lip there. Now, if you can tolerate that, it's not the end of the world. It may not cause you much trouble. For practice here, I'm going to leave it. Okay? And you could also even take some body filler, JB Weld or something like that and clean that up too on the top. So if you make a mistake here like I did, or you do something that isn't quite right, again, be patient, give yourself a little latitude, and just know that JB Weld can help you fix a few errors. And then I also sanded this just a bit narrower than this one. You can see, again, there's a lip right here that shouldn't be there because it's not on the back of this one, see? Okay? So, as I mentioned ahead of time, at the beginning, give yourself some, be patient with yourself, and it'll be okay. And just know, mine's not perfect, so it'll be okay. So what you're going to need for this build tonight, you're going to need some glue. And all I did here on this one, this is temporarily glued with this, okay? This is just to get these parts stuck together so I don't have to Jack and Mickey Mouse holding JB Weld, holding these only with JB Weld. So now that these are together with temporary glue, I can come in here with JB Weld and put them on the seam on the inside and all over. And that will be better, okay? So that's what we've got cooking there. You're going to need a saw. If you don't have, a cutting device, a Dremel, you can use maybe a hacksaw. I don't know how that would work. Dremel would probably be your first bet. I have another saw, a handheld saw I bought from Hobby Lobby that I can't locate at the moment, but I'll show it if I find it in the notes, in the comments. You'll need a file unless you have some sort of sanding device where you can sand it by hand. So a file or some sort of sanding device or power tool like I have, okay? So, I don't have any specific measurements for you tonight, guys, because I'm just kind of eyeballing this. So what I'm going to do on my bandsaw, I'm going to come in here, and you can do this with the Dremel or whatever, but I'm going to come in here and I'm going to just cut right up this seam on the inside, okay? So I'm going to eyeball this and get my blade to come. Basically, I want it to glide right past this piece of flat die cast here, okay? And you'll notice there's a little bit of a rib right here, a transition piece, okay? Then, I'm going to cut kind of close to this, I don't know, what do they call it, an air window thing? I don't know what they call these. But this thing right here, I'm going to cut in front of that, and then I'm going to sand to these holes and get as close as I can with that and get as even as I can all the way around. Now you also notice we had this door right here, okay? See that door? This line right here actually exists right here. Look at that, okay? So if this annoys you and you don't like it, you can actually take a Dremel before you put the back on, and you can kind of sand that out, or at least get rid of these rivets. And you could even put body filler in here and fill up this crack if you wanted to. And it would be easiest if you did it before you put the back on. Okay, you have one on both sides. Okay? Okay, we're gonna go for a ride. Hold on, people. Right there's my saw. To avoid bouncing you around and moving you a whole lot, I'm not going to actually move the camera. We're just going to do it this way, okay? Okay. And I've got hot tea out here because it's really cold. Now, for my bandsaw, I just want to make sure I got you. Okay, I'm resting the cab on this piece of folded cardboard, and the reason for that is I've got these clearance lights right here. I've got these clearance lights that look at that. If I put those on the table, well, I'm going to have an uneven cut. I don't want that, so I'm going to use two pieces of cardboard folded together to give me just enough height that I can cut and keep it mostly even. Another little thing here, another tip, the more work you do right now cutting, the better job you do cutting, the less work you have to do down the road. So if you can get all these cuts nice and clean and perfect and gorgeous, it just causes you less work, okay? Now, with this particular tool, it does not give you that result. So if you're all hot and bothered to buy a bandsaw and you're only gonna do one of these types of cabs, you almost could say, screw it, I'll just do it with a handsaw with a really fine blade and then get a perfect cut, and then you make two cuts and then you get out of a lot of sanding and other things that I'm going to have to do using this device here, okay? So there we go. All right, we're going to flip on and go. Okay. Here is my cut. And if you have any questions, I'm not going to answer them just yet because I can't see them. But here's the first cut. Okay. You'll notice here it's pretty uneven, but luckily we can sand and make that better. And it's pretty uneven here too. Okay. And then this is the part you don't want to lose. Remember, I told you that cab is, the top of that cab is separate. Okay. Well, don't want to lose that. And you'll notice again, yeah, that's not very good. Let me turn that around. Ah, there we go. Now the camera might not be autofocusing. You can see that too is not perfectly even, but we can remedy that with a little bit of sanding. Okay. Okay, here, doggone it, sorry about that. All right. Here's the back of the cab, and again, obviously you can see now the two pieces right there. That's kind of cool. And then you'll notice we're going to take about 1/4 inch out because we're going to cut right here. Okay, so we're going to take about 1/4 inch out here. And then here. Okay. All right. I think that's all we need there. I almost forgot, when I did practice, there's these holes here, because I can't see when I'm cutting, I can't see that hole very well, so what I did was I just drilled that out. So if you give me just a second here. Okay, so what I did was I drilled out 1, 2, 3, 4 holes there. That way when I'm looking at it from the inside, I can see where I'm at. And obviously, I could just make a mark, but, why would we ever do that? here is the leftovers. Okay, and that's just what we took out. Now, you can see again, the cut is not very even, but you know, when you have power tools and you can cheat and do it the easy way, well, why not, huh? And then on this side, boy, I kind of screwed the pooch there. I didn't cut that very straight, but luckily again, we have tools. All right, so I'm going to squirrel you around over here, and you get to watch me work. Well, fellas, not my masterpiece by any stretch. Well, doggone, here we are. Not real great, but let me show you what we've got. I'm going to turn the camera down so I can see the screen better, okay? Okay. There we go. Now we can take a look at this. Not my best work. And part of the problem is when you grind these two pieces together, this material up here comes off much slower than this down here. And I simply just, man, must be off my game. Not having a good night. Anyway, it's not glamorous across the top. You can kind of tell. And then, yeah, just it's not perfect. It's not awesome. It's good. It's good. It's not great. Okay. All right, now we have some work to do on these other pieces. Okay, now as I showed you just a few minutes ago, we have here this to deal with, and then we have that to deal with. This up here, these two sides here being the worst, not the worst, needing the most attention. How about that? We'll make a positive thing out of that. All right, gonna do some squirreling around again. This time I'm gonna use just the flat deck of this, and then I gotta go, and I said don't lose that other little piece. Where to go? There it is, it's hiding, okay. Okay, what I've done is I've got these kind of evened up along the sides here. Okay, so I took some material off. The side looks pretty straight. That side looks, it took a little too much off here. Well, which is actually going to be the bottom. This is the bottom, this is the top. So you can see I took just a bit too much off there. Luckily, it's not the end of the world. Not going to kill ourselves. Now comes the hard part. Okay, so now I got to take some material off of this goofy little thing. See, look at that. I got to take material off of that little sucker. And actually, it'd help if I put it, held it right. There we go. Now, what's kind of painful about this one is look how much I got to take off. Yeah, this is not going to be any fun. So I'm going to take about a 1/16 of an inch off. Okay? This is why I said tonight is the most difficult night of the whole build. Because just getting these pieces correct is, as you can see, it just takes a little work. Okay, got to do a test fit here. And you'll notice I was just doing everything I could to get that sanded because it's just a tiny, and then it gets hot and then you're burning your fingers and it's like, Okay, so I think we can make this happen. That doesn't look bad. Okay, here we are. So you can see it's not freaking amazing, but it might do. It might do. And again, quick disclaimer. You can buy this cab we're building in resin already. So you don't even have to do all this if you don't want to. Just go buy your resin cab, paint it up, put it together, and off you go. But as I've mentioned last week, I just enjoy working with die cast. For me, this is just kind of fun. It's just relaxing. Okay. I got the pieces where I want them, so now we're taking a little spin to the south. Okay, now we get to do the fun part of putting the back together. And here's a little trick. This is just a piece of laminate flooring. I don't know where I came up with this, but I did, and I forget where I came up with this stuff, but it doesn't matter anyways. If you have a piece of, just anything flat like this, just perfectly flat, this is how you're going to get the back glued onto the cab and make it perfect, okay? Watch this. This is a cute trick. Okay, now remember, and again, another disclaimer, this is temporary, not permanent. We're just going to take a little bit of glue and just go around the sides. Look at that. Oh, doesn't that make you feel good? That's what I thought. Okay. Now, I'm just going to put those together like so. And guess what? That baby's going to be at the right height. And it would help if I got you right there in the screen. Okay. Ta-da! Look at that. Again, temporary, temporary. Okay? Now, I'm going to put that on. And if I'd have been thinking, I was totally distracted earlier today. My office was closed, so I had to go in and move a bunch of tree limbs and chainsaw a bunch of stuff today. So I was distracted. If I'd have been thinking, I'd have taken my JB Weld and stuck it in the house to warm it up. But I did not do that. Okay. Now, you'll notice I got a big old gap up there. But what are we going to do? We're not going to freak out. We're just going to put some JB Weld or body filler or whatever you want in there and close that gap. And it will look beautiful. Okay. Check that action out, boys. That is gorgeous. Okay. And unlike the practice over here, I didn't grind this too flat, and I don't have a lip back here, which I love. And you know, the lines aren't bad. Those are, I mean, that's kind of tasty right there. I can go with that. All right. We need to make this permanent. So we're going to use our handy dandy JB Weld to give this a bit of permanence. All right. And if there's something you like better than JB Weld, well, use it. Now my stuff is really, really chilly, so I don't know if this is gonna, this may just be a big old turd. Because I don't think it got above 32 today. And yeah, it's not coming out. Come on, baby, get out of there. Yeah, this is a big goose egg, I believe. Well, luckily you all have used JB Weld before, I hope, so this shouldn't be rocket science if you can't figure it out. Wow. Or excuse me if I can't get it figured out tonight. I had all of this stuff in my house, and then my family absconded it to this cold room because we had some news reporters from Channel 12 come out and say, "How are you preparing for the ice storm?" And my wife would not let me tell them that I had a 30-pack. What more did we need? We were prepared. She wouldn't let me say that. All right. So anyways, we couldn't have all my model stuff on the kitchen table while the news ladies were here. Okay. Did it warp with the sanding heat? You know, actually, Ward, I bent it when I was putting pressure on it, but no, it didn't warp. This part of the cab right here, I just sanded too much on. That's what happened. It's the cab, not that tiny little piece I've got there. Okay, you can see this is got the consistency of peanut butter. Yeah, there you go. That's right, Jason. Okay, so you do not want to be too generous with the JB Weld on the inside, because if you recall, we took out interior last week that we've got to put back in this bad boy. Okay? So do not get too much in there, But, you know, make yourself a nice little joint in there. Yeah, here we go. So I've done the left and right cab seams. But then I'm going to come back in here and put some along the top here, okay? But while I have this little bit of, I didn't mix very much up on purpose, mostly because it's cold, and I wanted to give you guys just, especially for those guys that are brand new and maybe, or something like this and taking a stab at it, give you enough information that you can go get this done, even though I'm not doing the whole thing. So, and I'm filling in my cab top here, if that's what you're wondering here. You guys may not have to do this particular step, but I am, because I made a goofy looking cut. And yeah, that looks dumb. And I kind of like working with JB Weld too. I mean, it's kind of a, it's just, it's not real friendly, but you know, I kind of like it. Now at the beginning, oh boy, I just made a mess. Look at that, that's fun. A few minutes ago I said you can take and this little seam, this door left over from where we cut on the big sleeper, you could fill that seam in and sand it out, and the best time would be prior to doing what I'm doing. But I'm going to come in and take a lot of these rivets out with a sander because I don't care about them. So I'm just covering all this crap up. I don't care. This is where you will have to use your judgment and determine what kind of look you want. If you want all these rivets and keep all these rivets, then you don't want to do what I'm doing. Do what I referenced at the beginning of the show, or the lesson. Okay. Now, normally you wouldn't have to use this much JB Weld. You could use body filler to do what I'm doing. I just happen to have this mixed up. And like I mentioned, I kind of enjoy working with it. It's not all bad. Okay. Das ist gut. Okay. That is where we are. So at this point, you got to let your JB Weld dry, and then once it's dry, we can come in and sand. Okay. Time for questions. I don't know if I missed anything, but now is a good time for questions. Get those fingers working on those keys. I'm going to see if I can scroll back through there. Let's see here. Talking about the weather. Okay, cool, cool, cool. I'm looking for comments. If you have comments, guys, now's your time to type those out, because I'm going to scroll through here, see what I missed, and then we'll get going. Let me see. Jason says, I didn't realize how much I needed a belt sander until I bought a belt sander. Yes, I know, man. This sucker, it just saves so much time. Excuse me, even on styrene and just odd things, man, I find I use that thing all the freaking time. Okay. All right, I think, yeah, okay, we're good there. Okay. I don't know where we're at as far as time goes, but I know we're probably bumping up against our 9 o'clock hour. So if you have any more questions, please leave them in the comments. If you do something interesting that I'm not doing, maybe you find a better way to do something, please post that in the comments too, or at least post it in the lab and say, you know, I'm doing the K100 build along. I came up with a different way to do it. Here's how I'm doing it. Please post that too, because my ways aren't always the right ways. I'm learning stuff all the time, especially from people watching and other builders. I'm learning stuff all the time and taking great ideas and using them. So, like I said, if you find something better, make sure, please post them. So, would a belt sander be better than a file? Well, a belt sander is certainly faster than a file. Better is in the eye of the beholder. Yeah. So, if you guys don't have any other comments or questions, I'm going to bid you farewell tonight. Your homework is let that stuff dry, sand it down, and start getting that cleaned up. I'm going to sand up practice, JB weld both, and then sand them up. And then I'm going to leave one for next time so I can sand that down in front of you. And then we will begin, gosh, we're already going to be getting ready for prime and paint. Also, practice I'll probably keep moving forward. We can do some primer and painter, but I know we're going to do some special decals, and I got to measure up this cab and send it to Josh at Bedlam Creations. I'm going to take a picture of it, scale it down so it's perfectly 1/64 scale in a digital file. He'll draw the decals on this digital file, digital cab we're building, and then he'll do the decals and send them out. So for those of you who want to do the decals going on this cab, be ready for that. It's going to take a little bit, so we may have a little stop in the action while we wait for decals. That'll all depend on Josh. So I think that's it. So thank you again for watching. Thanks for building along. I'm looking forward to seeing all of your work, especially those of you guys making one. I can't wait to see what you come up with as we finish this truck up here in the next couple weeks. So with that, like, comment, share. Don't keep any of this information to yourself. Make sure you, I don't know. What about the morning truck you were doing? What about it? Oh, good question. Here's morning truck. Matt is asking about a truck I did, started last week in the morning, and then I just haven't got back to it because of other things, life happening. This bed is going to be a 359 dump truck, and you'll notice I've got some plastic here glued to it to make it look like the real one and make the hoist operate and blah. This is the 359 cab. You'll notice the body filler where that window was on the passenger side. The real one doesn't have a window, so I closed that up. Also, where the air breather holes are on the die-cast cab, I closed those up. The real one doesn't have those. And then the 359, the real one, only has one air breather on the passenger side. You can see that hole there on the passenger side. And here's the top for 359, and here's the end gate for the bed. That's that. Yeah. It's just been kind of weird lately building stuff. So that's it, guys. Thanks for all the questions, comments, your attention. You're awesome. Look forward to seeing your builds. See ya. Bye.